Ah. I need to get another camera pointed at my face. At my ugly mug. Must get repairs done. Must fix MacBooks. Must get money. Ugh. Dry. Good enough. Put my sign on the door. YouTube video in progress. What is this? This is a mess. MacBook. This is an A21 2289. This is a 2020 13-inch touch bar that's liquid damaged. I don't see any wet spots. I think this has been off for a while. That's weird. Never even seen that. It's got two like backlight or microphone looking things. Alright. So I see a bunch of corrosion over here already. Let's do microscope view. Scope cam. And it's frozen, of course. Why? Because I'm doing a video, so why wouldn't you not freeze? Why would you not freeze? Why would you want to work? Why would things want to just work? That doesn't make any sense. Just work. Just work. Alright, let's get these screws out of the thing here. I don't like to get people's computers scratched up. MacBook owners are particular about their computers. What is this? What is that? That looks like a corroded, messed up bank of capacitors. This is what that looks like. Yeah. And does this have CD3217s? Oh, boo, it does. That's not good. Yeah, and I can see liquid all over this board, which probably means the CD3217s are dead, and I don't have any of those in stock. But we're gonna poke around in this thing anyway. Just see. We're gonna take the board out. Make sure there's no corrosion anywhere before we power it on. Or make sure there's no actual wet. There's no wetness before we power it on and fry the board. Because as you can see on this hunk of electronics, the SSD is soldered onto the board. So if we power this up and it's liquid damaged on a power rail, important power rail, then bye-bye data. The LCD. I don't know if they put the power high voltage lines next to CPU line on this one. Probably. Wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't put it past them. We're just going to go ahead and pull this board out. See, have a look-see. See what we got going on here. See, they actually went back to the putting the heatsink actually behind the CPU fan, which might actually cool the computer off instead of the good old fan design was just a fan in the MacBook Air or whatever. The fan's just sitting over here with no heatsink or anything connected to it. Was just to fill up the computer with fluff, just for looks. It's kind of like giving an electric car the sounds of a fossil fuel engine revving up. This feels kind of phony. Phony baloney. We got a stud there. I already unhooked the battery because I opened this briefly before. Come on. Man, these little adhesive stickers are dumb. Is that someone texting me? Somebody texting me. What do you want? I'm busy. I'm always busy. Oh. Where was I? Taking the board out of this MacBook. Somebody probably paid $2,000 for and decided to test its waterproof capabilities. By spilling something on it. I think I've only been into one or two of these machines, so it's kind of interesting. See, they went with the modular USB-C port, which is a good idea. Gotta hope this USB-C connector on this board is good. Oh, thank God. Looks like they didn't spill anything on it. Those are a bear to replace. Looks like the audio and whatever that is looks okay. Not quite sure. Speaker. Left speaker. Don't know what this is. Keyboard. Trackpad. Then we just have to remove that stud over here, that hex stud. Not sure whether to use this instead of like a regular screw with a thread end in it, but whatever. Ready to come out? No, feels like there's something still attached here. What is it? Ah, Wi-Fi. Oh, you sneaky, sneaky people. You hid the Wi-Fi in a screw underneath this stupid little plastic thing. How dare you? Oh, one more. That's I'm gently pulling up on the board. I'm not forcing anything because you never know when you got something plugged in still. Rubber grommet. Should probably take the USB ports out. Just use those. Oh. Put the screws back in so we don't lose them. There we go. Get this thing out of the way. Let's have an inspection of the board before we go turning anything on. Let's see if we can go back to scope cam or if we're gonna have to. Did not freeze this time. Good. All right, let's have a look around, shall we? So there's the area that we looked at before. So we can focus a little bit. It's good. All of our connectors look good. Good. I'm seeing some stuff I don't like around this CD3217 right here. I don't like that liquid looking stuff. That doesn't make me happy. So I do not have CD3217s right now. And I do not have donor logic boards. So we're just doing a visual inspection, just kind of seeing what we got here. Seeing what liquid damage, just kind of taking inventory. There's the board number, in case anyone ever needs it. It's not focused and it's upside down. There you go. Can you read that? Yes. Okay. It's right next to the trackpad connector. Some CPU MOSFETs. A couple of them there yeah. It's like the same MOSFET FDMF 5804. Yeah. Using like everything. Seems like. So far on the top. That little area is all we're seeing, which is good, I guess. So far, this is our bad area. Let's flip the board over and look on the other side. Now, even though I opened this, I did not look at I have not taken the board out and looked, so I have no idea what I'm heading into here. It's like a mirror image of that other side, except it's clean. There's our other CD3217. We've got a dead cap here on the edge of the board. See that? We'll have to figure out what that goes to. There's a TPS 51980B. Looks like liquid got around that, as you can see, by this little wavy edge here. Looks like liquid got close to that chip. None of the passives around it are corroded though, which is good. So, I mean, on top of having all that other stuff, broken traces would not be good. That looks important. This board looks like it has been cleaned. Not by me. There's a bunch of fibers right there. Look like cotton swab fibers. And there's ISL 9240, which we can look underneath and see it's definitely got liquid around it. Nothing super remarkable yet, like nothing just blown out. There's a little bit of cotton swab or some crap next to this. Yeah. It's dirty. Yeah, I don't see a whole heck of a lot here that's ruined. Let's pull it onto the edge and look at that ISL chip, hey? See if we can do this without freezing. Never mind. I was going to say without freezing the microscope camera, but of course. Because I'm trying to record a video. I need like a longer... I have a long USB cable, but I don't know if it's the power cable or not. Anyway, let's look at our ISL underneath of it. Where'd it go? Where's that little blue chip? There we go. Oh, I can't see under it. It's that blurry mess right there. Can't see anything. Oh, there we go. See the solder balls under there. See if we can zoom in ultra close. There's like a little something there, but it's not. It's just on the side of the chip. It actually looks okay. The solder balls on that don't look bad. So if we have a shorted power rail or alright. Well, let's plug in our USB port and see what we're getting. Going the wrong way. Going the wrong way to focus up here. Oh gosh, that This adapter's, this 0.45 adapter's making me nauseated. Because you can't see anything. I can. The video cannot. I can only see less than half of what I'm looking at. I don't like that at all. I'm waiting for my 0.35X adapter to come. Let's put this monstrosity of a... Well, we can just gently plug it in real quick. Since we don't see any wet, active corrosion. What are we getting? Trying to be all fancy here. .12 volts and 10 milliamps. That sounds to me like CD3217 is not working, which is not good. Because that will conclude this video, if that's the case. Because I don't have those right now. But it's a good start. Gently move that in the way. Yep. 5.12 volts, 10 milliamps, steady. Alright, I'm going to screw back on the cover because I want to be able to move the board around to do some measuring. I want to be able to move the board around and measure without worrying about that, without that USB port popping off. That bracket is strange. Probably. T3 size? Come on. Come on. Push down on it, didn't I? Did I undo the connector? Nope. Can't push down on it, it'll unhook. There we go. Now we don't have to worry about stuff popping off. And now you're 5.12 volts at 0 milliamps. Now there is no board view for this logic board. There's just a diagram in the PDF, which is going to make troubleshooting this interesting. We can kind of infer some stuff here. Like this fuse up here, I'm pretty sure is probably for PP bus, so we'll measure that. And that's 0 volts, which is not good. Zero volts. So do we have a short on whatever that is? Which I imagine is probably PP bus. Can you see even what I'm doing? Nope. Yeah, because that overhead light was washing things out. Zero. Let's unplug it and check for a short. We'll do diode mode first. Diode mode to ground. Yep. Maybe. That's shorted, so that's probably, we have a PB bus short. Yeah. It's kind of bouncing around. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Let's confirm that that's PP bus real quick. We're going to look at this schematic here. Okay, so the board is oriented 180 degrees. Let's see if I can zoom in on the PDF here. See, monitor. Yeah, so you'll be able to see what I'm looking at. So F7000 here. So we can do a find F7000. Yep. That's PP bus. So pin 2. Alright, so we have a PB bus short. Is on the system side or the creation side? U7000 is our ISL. So we can quickly pop that fuse off and not necessarily inject voltage, but we can just measure on which what we do when we remove that fuse is we're going to essentially say this board is the fuse. This is pin 1 on this side, pin 2 on this side, and this is the creation side, this is the system side. So those two circuits, if you will, are connected, and the fuse is a junction. And when we take that fuse out, we essentially break the connection between the system and the creation. So that way we can isolate if the short is on the creation side or if the short is on the system side. So we're going to warm the board up here real quick just a little bit and remove that fuse and see. We're going to remove that fuse and see if we indeed have a short on which side. We obviously have a short. That's that part we know. So you are going to come off my board just for a little bit. We're going to point the hot air. We're going to point the hot air that way, because over here is our connector. We don't want to melt that. So we're going to point the hot air at an angle away from the connectors. There's lots of connectors here. Kind of warm the board up from a distance here. Check it. Yep, we got things warmed up. Kind of point away from that poly cap, that cap 2 capacitor. Point away from our fingers because that burns. Alright. We'll just set our little fuse aside. We can test him and make sure he works. So we should have 0. We should have complete continuity. Let's go to overhead so you guys can actually see what I'm measuring. So he's good. Yep, he's measuring 300 milliohms, so that's good. So we'll just put him to the side so we can put him back on. I think I bought some more of those fuses. What are those fuses anyway? 12 amp, 32 volt, 1206. Oh, I didn't put them in my drawer. With MacBook ICs, I put it somewhere else. Alright. Now let's see. According to our schematic, which pin goes to what side? Kind of need to know that. And they don't have pin numbers. That's hilarious. Okie dokie. Alright, well, I guess we're just gonna... We'll have to figure it out on our own. So we'll check one side and we'll check the other. Alright, first side. Do diode mode ground here. Red probe on ground. There's no short on that side. Our short is on that side. What's the ohms? Oh, ohms. 0.3, so that's pretty much a dead short. So where does that go to? I mean, PB bus is supposed to be, let's find out on this system. So PB bus comes from our ISL 9240. How do we figure out which side we're on? Well, there's some components that are close to the ISL. There's some resistors. There's gate resistors. There's resistors and capacitors, and there's two dual MOSFETs next to an inductor. So we can kind of look for that on the ISL, and we can kind of measure to see where that's going. So they're not right next to the ISL. So they're on the other side, I imagine. And wouldn't you know it? Oh. Well, we can... Oh, what an idiot. Okay, so F7000 is a fuse. All we need to do is look for C7040. So if we do a search here, let me go to monitor. We do C7040. Oh, wait, no, that's... Sorry. Yeah, we just hit next till it goes to the board view. Oh, well, that's not helpful. So it's in that vicinity, huh? Could you maybe narrow it down? Let's look for something else then. What about R7020 maybe? So there's R7020 right here. Which is really close to the fuse on pin 1 on the pin 1 side. That's current sense. So what if we look at PP bus? Score G. Whoop. What I'm trying to do is just look for something further down the line here. Okay, so F8400. Which is going to our backlight. Which I wonder if all those capacitors are on our backlight. So where's F8400 would be? The others would be on the system side. That's the side that's shorted. So let's look for F8400. Well, we know it's there. We want to know where it is on the board. And wouldn't you know, I bet you, here's our area that's corroded. I'll bet you that thing's around here somewhere. Why does that box cover such a large area? Are you not finding? See, look at that. Like, where is the fuse? Hello. Can you narrow it down? Oh, there it is. God, the highlight is so small. F8400 right here. So let's go back to the microscope. There's U8200. This should really be rotated 180 degrees because we're looking at it upside down relative to how I have the board. But we can find that fuse. We know what fuses look like. So let's go to scope cam. There he is. There's our little fuse. There's our guy. We'll check him. I'm wondering if okay. Is it our you have continuity? You do. Are you shorted to ground? You are. Well, that's not good. So I imagine all of these capacitors down here here, something is shorted to ground in this area. And we might even have a bad LED driver. Which would be one of the weirdest faults I've ever seen. So, do we have what's our resistance and stuff like on these CPU MOSFETs? Which I imagine is what these MOSFETs and these inductors are for. Let's double check and make sure we don't have like a dead short on those. Because the last thing I want to do is inject voltage on this board if that stuff's shorted. So what's L7410? Yeah, I know it's there. VRGT, GTX, IMVPT, I don't know what that means. Graphics. Oh, CPU. Yep. CPU, VCC, GT, GTX phase 1, phase 2. Yeah, so it's basically our CPU V-core. Yep. If this dang search box will get out of the way, you can see that. Voltage out, 0.55 to 1.5. Yeah, so that's PP, VCC, GT, SO, CPU. So that's on our CPU V-core. So if we check that for a short, both of those big inductors, and make sure there's no short there, then yeah, we got 5 ohms. So that seems okay. I wouldn't expect anything. Yeah, so like I'd say 1 to 0 ohms would be bad. But 3 to 5 ohms I'd say would be okay. Low voltage. So we're gonna torture this board by soldering some wires onto it and injecting some voltage and seeing just 1 volt. We're just gonna do 1 volt, nothing more. If we can't find the short that way, then we're gonna figure out another way to find the shorts. And you've been watching my scope cam, so I apologize for that. Like I said, I'm not an excellent video blogger or video content person. I usually just try to get stuff fixed. Alright, we definitely have to adjust our power supply because right now it's showing 16 volts at 8 amps, and that would not be good. So before we even solder the wires on here, we are going to adjust this down to 1. Or we'll go 500 millivolts first. And we'll go 1 amp. Yeah, so half a watt. We'll go half a watt so we don't destroy anything. Or, no, we'll go 2 amps because that'll be 1 watt. We'll solder on our shorted side. We'll use a ground screw point here. I like using it because it's nice and solid. Just put a little bit of solder there. We'll clean that up when we're done. So I'm hoping it's not our CD3217s that are shorted, because that would suck. I don't have any of those. I need to get some. Okay, make sure that's not shorted to ground. Let's solder that a little better. Yep, clearing the ground screw, clearing everything else. Alright, we're not going to do the ouch test. Well, we'll turn it on and see how much we're drawing first. And we're immediately drawing the 2 amps. Nope, it's going back down to 1 amp. So something is definitely... And I think I found it. Maybe. Feel some warmth here. See if I can drag this over a little bit. Microscope. Alright, let's see if I can get everything in focus here. We're going to put a little alcohol in there. Let's see what we find. We're going to increase the voltage a little bit. Nothing? Alright. See if we can find anything. Nope, we're not drawing anything. We burn the short out. Hmm. $250 milliwatts, so it started out getting really hot. It's not hot anymore. So we'll keep the voltage there. Well, whatever it is, we must have burned the short out because it's not. It was drawing 3 amps, so it got to like 2 or 3 watts, and then it's gone. Oop. So I'm wondering if we burnt the short out. No, nothing's getting hot anymore. Let's clean this. Solder off this. Goodbye. And goodbye. I have to put some more better solder on that place of where our PB bus fuse was. Let's check. See if we still have it short. Seems kind of weird to me that it says when it goes up to like, half a volt at 3 amps, like it was drawing a bunch of current, and then all of a sudden it stopped, that we just burnt the short out. It's probably just a small short or something. Interesting. No, our short's still there. It's 2.5 ohms now instead of 0. So what is it then? I want to know what that capacitor right there goes to. Let's find out. If it goes to PB bus, I'm going to kick myself. Alright. Let's find the number. That is C6406. C6406. I'm wondering if that's our problem. That'd be nice if it was hooked to PB bus. C6406. And you are, oh, look at that. It's on, well, you can't look at that because I'm not showing you. There's our C6406. It's on PB Bus G3 hot speaker amp left. So it's a filter cap on our from our battery. It says VBAT. So yeah, our audio left amplifier's capacitor is, well, I mean it's corroded for one. We have to pull it off. So what if we remove that? What if we remove that capacitor and it fixes our board? I'm not going to get my hopes up, but let's just see what happens, because right now it looks like we have a PB bus short. Grr. Sorry, I'm just looking something up. Oh, great. All right, let's pull that capacitor off and see what happens to our BB bus short. Oh wait, let's check and see if it's shorted to the ground before we remove it. Because how are we going to know? Yeah, it's got the same 2.6 ohm short that my PB Buzz has. So let's take that off. It's kind of a guess. We're just taking a guess. This capacitor doesn't look too hot, and it's the only one on this side of the board that doesn't look good. So we're going to get rid of him. Let's see what happens. Come on, guy. We're obviously going to have to replace all those other capacitors because they don't look good either. I think those are on backlight. Let the board cool off. Ha! And what do you know? Wow, dude, I need to go buy a lottery ticket. Look at this. Watch the multimeter. I'm gonna measure PB bus now. So after removing that speaker amp bypass cap or decoupling, whatever you call it, look at my resistance to ground now. On PB bus. So I got my black probe on ground. 125 kiloohms. Ha! So what do you say? What do you say I solder that PB bus cap on and see if we have a board that's turning on? I mean, obviously I'm still going to have to replace all these janky caps down here. I'm not going to leave that, but it'd be kind of cool just to be able to fire the board up once to see it turn on. Alright, so we're not gonna use hot air on this. We'll just solder it by hand. As soon as I figure out why my spool of solder is deciding to fly off the side again. I love Kester, but darn it, why do they pack these spools completely full of solder? I mean, there's more solder on here than I would use in a lifetime. It's like 2 pounds of solder. I just need to use more. Stop complaining. Alright, so we're gonna throw some leaded on that side. Put our fuse back on our PP bus. Oh, not even showing you what I'm doing. Wow. God, look how stingy I am. Not even showing you what I'm doing. What a bad repair person. All right. Go ahead and clean that up with some IPA. Yep, I know. Board's all messy. Alright, let's try it. Let's see what happens now. We'll do overhead camera. We'll get the keyboard off my lap and we'll see what happens. Hopefully nothing else is shorted. We'll just do a quick power on and then at some point I'll replace those capacitors. I'm not sure I have those available on a donor board. I'll have to look. But let's see what happens now to our little board. And as you can see, we got 19.8 volts at 460 milliamps. So guess what? Fixed. This board is now turning on. Beautiful, man. I love it. I'll take this win. Let's try the other port here. 19.8 volts. 160. 510 milliamps. 580 milliamps. 480. 290. 270. So it's, yeah, 250. But yeah. See that? 40. Oh, it's, yeah, power cycling, or I don't know what it's doing. So it's probably looking for a battery or something and not turning on. CPU's warm. Oh. One more time. 60. 30. 150. 160. 620. Yeah, so that's its ramp up. It's going through its stages of turning on. So we'll put it in the chassis real quick and see if we get a Apple logo, and then I will call this not the board repair, but the video done, because I've got to look for, just look for and replace all those capacitors in that area that are bad. Clean up this board. So yeah, very good. Managed to find a PP bus short on our speaker amp. Our left speaker amp circuit. So yeah, if you get corrosion on a speaker amp decoupling cap, not only are you not going to get sound, but you're not going to get anything, because your MacBook is going to be dead. But we don't want dead MacBooks. We want live ones. The customers don't pay for dead MacBooks. Stupid Wi-Fi. What am I caught on here? I know there's another cable here. Gently pull that out. Still caught on something? You're in there. What else? Oh, I think it's just because we bent that cable up. Oh, no. Speaker. The right speaker. So it's all your fault, little left speaker. All your fault. So we'll have to double check and make sure the battery's good to go. Why aren't you plugging in their trackpad? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, crap. Bend that. Careful. Have to be replacing a trackpad cable. I do have them. So maybe plug in the right speaker. Oops, our battery cables. Our BMU is all bent, all out of shape. Come on. 30. We're just plugging in a couple of things here. See if I can get an Apple logo with just what's plugged in. We don't have our audio board plugged in. I don't even know what that goes to. Got our power button and stuff. Alright, let's gently open this and see if we get a screen pop up here. What do you say? Hold still. Oh, look at that Apple logo. Look at that. Fixed. Alright. Got a progress bar, as you can see. Is this one of those models where the fan doesn't spin until the thing's like as hot as a comet? Oh, there goes the fan. 580 milliamps. Look at that. Got a repaired computer. Fixed. Beautiful. Alright, well, I'm going to cut this video because now that we know it works, we're just going to do some maintenance. We're going to replace all these crappy capacitors. And then, of course, we're going to clean the board. Make sure it's nice and clean. We'll test everything. And make sure it all works. So anyway, yeah, I hope you found this useful or helpful. If you got a 2289 2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch touch bar, 5 point. I don't know, where do those screws come from? Oh yeah, it's my USB-C port. Anyway, if you got 5.12 volts on your and 0 amps on your charger, check your PB bus for shorts, because I checked my PB bus and it was dead short. And I found it was shorted to ground by a broken capacitor bypass cap on the left speaker amp circuit. So anyway, hope you found that useful. If you did, I'd appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. Later.